What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's Daniel, and welcome back to our video. Today, we're doing a NASCAR silly season update. We're going to recap everything that's happened in the silly season and also talk about some of the things that have been unanswered for 2023. Let's go ahead and just jump straight into it. Silly season would kick off in 2023 at the Daytona 500 when Chase Elliott announced he had signed a 5-year contract extension with Hailie Motorsports to remain with Hailie Motorsports through the 2027 season. Silly season would be quiet for a little bit, and then a few months later, it will be announced that William Byron also signed a contract extension with Hailie Motorsports through 2025 and hoping to get better results. Silly season be quiet once again for a little bit, and then a little bit down the road, Niece Motorsports would basically go on the Davey Siegel podcast, who currently works at Front Stretch and all Series on NASCAR Radio. Cody Efa, who's the manager of that team, he would basically say that they're eyeing Cup starts for 2023 and maybe potentially putting Carson Hocebar behind the wheel of one of the Niece Motorsports Cup Series cars. Despite not having Xfinity Series starts and lack of Truck Series starts, they're talking about moving Carson Hocebar up. We'll see if that comes to fruition. Silly season be quiet for a very, very long time, and then around National Weekend, a couple major silly season bombs would come out. First, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. announced that he had signed a multi-year contract extension with JTG Doherty Racing. It's unclear how long the extension was, but I think it'd be probably a 2 or 3 year extension to hopefully help them get stabilized. And Brian Petty's also going to be not crew chief for the team this year, as Mike Kelly's going to be the crew chief. On the same day, Martin Truex Jr., after a lot of speculation, because back in June, there were a lot of rumors about Martin Truex Jr.'s future, if he was going to be returning to Joe Gibbs Racing or not. Well, Martin Truex Jr. basically confirmed to the media that he would be returning to Joe Gibbs Racing in 2023 in the number 19 car. He also have auto owners confirmed as a sponsor for 2023. Now, the big question on Martin Truex Jr. is, will next year be his last year? That's one thing to watch. It'd be quiet for a little bit, and then a couple weeks later, Emerling Motorsports, which is Joey Gase's and Patrick Emerling's organization, they've announced they'd be having 2 full-time entries in 2023 and switching to Chevy as their manufacturer. They're going to have 1 full-time driver in 1 car, and then the other will be a split for multiple drivers to get behind the wheel, as the team hopes to improve, which they have at points, showing some improvement, but hope to improve in 2023. Then it be announced a few weeks later, while all this stuff around Tyler Reddick, which we'll get into a little bit, was happening, Ty Dillon would announce that he would not be returning to Petty GMS in 2023. Now, Ty Dillon would find a ride in 2023, which we'll get to here later, but he announced at the time that he would not return to Petty GMS, and that was due to a major lack of performance. Then around, I believe, the Pocono weekend or the National weekend, later in the season, it would be announced that Matt Benedetto would be returning to Rackley WAR Racing in 2023. After a very solid season, it's not a shock that he'd be returning to Rackley WAR and be looking to make the playoffs in 2023 and hoping to improve on his performance. After a pretty solid year in 2022, be looking to improve in 2023. And a couple weeks later, Eric Jones would officially announce that he would sign a multi-year contract extension with Petty GMS Motorsports. After a very good year in 2022, actually winning at the Southern 500 and being good enough to be consistent in the top 15 in points for the majority of the year, not a major shock to re-sign Eric Jones, who, like I said, had a very, very good year in 2022. Be looking to prove on that heading into 2023. Then out of nowhere, in the middle of August, it got revealed that 3F Racing, a new organization, German organization, was going to be entering the Cup Series in 2023. Now, 3F Racing has some GT experience back in Germany, and they've actually entered late model starts here as of recently in the South Carolina 400 at Florence. But 3F Racing will be making select Cup Series starts in 2023. The plan is to run 10 to 12 races in the 2023 season. Then a couple weeks later, we transitioned back to the Xfinity Series because Sam Mayer will be announced to be returning to Junior Motorsports in 2023, driving the number 1 car as he looks to try to improve on a pretty solid year in 2022, be looking to get that first career win in 2023 with Junior Motorsports. And then a little bit later, after some speculation, rumors, and rumors, Noah Gragson at the time drove the 9 car for Junior Motorsports, will be announced to officially drive for Petty GMS in 2023, driving the number 42 car. It took a while to announce the crew chief, but Luke Lambert, who's been his crew chief in the Xfinity Series, is going to be the crew chief for him in the Cup Series. After a strong year in the NASCAR Xfinity Series, where Noah Gragson scored 8 wins, or 9 wins, basically 8 wins 2022, he'll be looking to have a really strong rookie season. Now, he does have some Cup Series experience, but he'll be looking to improve on that and do really good in the 42 car, show some consistency in 2023. Then after that, on August 17th of this year, it would be announced that Ryan Blaney would have signed a multi-year contract extension with Team Penske. In fact, a long-term contract extension with Team Penske. Ryan Blaney had a really, really good year in 2022. Will look and improve and get back to victory lane. It's been a bit since he's been in victory lane, but he'll be looking to get back to victory lane. Then about the late August after the Michigan race, it would be also revealed that Bubba Wallace had signed a multi-year contract extension with 23XI Racing. Now keep this in mind, Bubba Wallace has a deal through 2023 at the time before this, but this basically keeps Bubba Wallace around for like 2024 or 2025. When you got sponsorship funding and you're really starting to improve on the racetrack, it's not a surprise that you get an extension. Bubba will be back in the 23 car in 2023. A little bit later down the road in the season, in the middle of August, we get some more details around Project 91. And it sounds like going into 2023, they're going to run 68 races, including the Daytona 500 and all the road course races as well. Project 91, a new organization for Trackhouse, a third car. I wouldn't be surprised long term if that car just ended up becoming a full-time with a bunch of different drivers, but they'll be entering a bunch of races in 2023. Then, in late August, it would be revealed that Joey Logano has signed a long-term contract extension with Team Penske. Now, Joey Logano had a contract through 2023, and Shell Pennzoil has signed a long-term extension, I think, through 2025 with Team Penske. But this confirms that Joey Logano will likely finish his career with Team Penske. Again, obviously, Team Penske is keeping Logano around because he's had great performances, and of course, he's coming off of winning the Cup Series championship in 2022, getting his second title in the last 5 years. It's not a shock that he is returning. Then, not so far down the road, I believe in the same week this got announced, Zane Smith would be announced to be returning to Farmer Motorsports in the Truck Series in 2023, driving the number 38 truck, as he, of course, coming off winning the Truck Series Championship in 2022. But it was also announced at the time that Zane Smith will be making select Cup Series starts in 2023, including in the 2023 Daytona 500. Now, the number of sponsors have not been announced at this time, but I would suggest that he will probably drive the number 36 car in 2023 in the select Cup starts. We'll see what race he runs. Maybe runs Gateway, maybe runs Talladega. Who knows at this point, but he'll be making select Cup starts. And then on the same day, I believe, Junior Motorsports basically confirmed that they would not be entering the Cup Series in 2023. Because there have been some rumors and indications that Junior Motorsports was talking about maybe entering the Cup Series in 2023. It doesn't even sound like right now they're going to be entering in 2024 either, but if they do, they will enter in 2024. As they've indicated, they've tried to get in, but it sounds like right now they're not going to enter at least till 2024. It may not be till the next charter deal comes through, and we know there's some issues when it comes to the charter agreements. Daytona week would actually also then start getting very, very busy. First, Daniel Suarez will be announced on the Friday that he has signed a one-year contract extension with Trackhouse Racing. Now, a lot of people are really, really shocked that Suarez only signed a one-year contract extension considering his performance in 2022, where he actually scored his first career win and made it to the round of 12 of the playoffs. The big reason why they've only signed him for one-year extension, though, is he revealed they're waiting when it comes to the TV deal to make a decision. If his performance continues, they're probably going to keep him long-term, and I think that they're going to keep him long-term, but he signed a one-year extension. We'll be looking to improve and get a chance, contend for a championship in 2023. Basically around the same time, I believe on the Friday, Eric Almirola will be officially revealed after rumblings and rumors that he was going to be basically retiring in 2022, as it would actually have been confirmed in January on my birthday. It would be announced he actually be returning to Stewart-Haas Racing to drive the number 10 car, and it's a multi-year deal. Big reason at the time why he decided to retire was because of the fact of his family, but his family decided, you know what, we want you to continue racing. Also, Smithfield was going to leave, so Smithfield was a big reason why he was returning to the team. He'll be looking to try to help the team build and get SHR back to the top rankings for 2023. And then in late August, it would be actually early September, we would get the massive bombshell we've been waiting on. At this time, Kyle Busch had been one of the biggest stories of the silly season because we thought he'd be returning to Joe Gibbs Racing. But then it got basically revealed that he would not be returning to Joe Gibbs Racing. Instead, Kyle Busch is going back to Chevy in 2023. He'll be driving the number 8 car, replacing Tyler Reddick, which we'll get into him in just a little bit. Randall Burnett, who's been the crew chief of the number 8 car for the last few seasons with Tyler Reddick, will be the crew chief for Kyle Busch in 2023. And Lenovo's been confirmed as sponsor, and it's possible Sling and Hot Wheels are going to sponsor Kyle Busch as well. This move is probably going to be really, really big for the team, and I think this move has to be a major move for the organization as they try to improve heading into 2023. Now, on that same day, speaking to the media, Austin Dillon basically confirmed that his current contract runs with RCR through 2025. Now, obviously, Austin Dillon is probably going to get an extension sometime in 2023 or 2024 to remain a team for the rest of his career. But by the end of his contract, Austin Dillon is, I believe, going to be 35 years of age. So he's going to be his mid-30s. But Austin Dillon has gotten 4 career victories and, of course, got to win at Daytona before this basically happened. So he'll be looking to try to improve on that and get some great stats through 2023. And then another massive bombshell happened as we all thought Brandon Jones was going to return to Joe Gibbs Racing. Well, it's been confirmed that Brandon Jones will actually not be returning to Joe Gibbs Racing and will be driving the number 9 car for Junior Motorsports in 2023. Now, there were some funny rumors that Drew Dollar was going to take the 9 car, but a lot of indications came out that he'd be driving it. It also confirmed as of recently that Menards is going to be the sponsor for every single race for Brandon Jones in 2023. Brandon Jones leaving the Joe Gibbs Racing organization and looking to see if he can find an area where he can really shine and have a championship caliber entry in 2023. And then around the same time, it got revealed by multiple people that Ryan Ellis will be returning to Alpha Prime Racing in 2023. Ryan Ellis had some solid starts at Alpha Prime Racing, and he'll make at least 15 Xfinity Series starts in Alpha Prime Racing equipment in 2023 and maybe more. This is a great opportunity for Ryan Ellis, who's been grinding it for the last few years. This is an awesome opportunity, and I cannot wait to see what he'll do in 2023 with Alpha Prime Racing. Then around the same time, I believe in late September, Kyle Larson made officially announced that he had signed a multi-year contract extension with Hendrick Motorsports through the 2026 season. Now, Kyle Larson originally had a deal through 2023 with HendrickCars.com and Larson to drive the 5 car, but always thought he would get an extension. It's a 3-year deal, so he's got 4 more years at least with Hendrick Motorsports. With how well Kyle Larson has performed and how good 2022 ended for Kyle Larson as of not making it to the Championship 4, you've got to be really excited if you are a Kyle Larson fan to see what he can do. It's really exciting news, and he'll continue driving for the team. And then a little bit down the road, RFK Racing, basically, I think after they won at Bristol, RFK Racing basically revealed that they are eyeing potentially having 4 cars in the future as an organization. And Brad Keselowski, who is the team owner of the organization, he says that they are eyeing 4 cars and they want to eventually expand back to a 4-car operation. I think it's very possible that could absolutely happen, and we'll see if RFK does end up doing that. And then sometime down the road, JD Motorsports will be announced that they have signed basically 3 cars in 2023. Now, they've got one driver that is confirmed for JD Motorsports in 2023, and that is Bailey Curry, as he will be returning to the 4 car in 2023. Great decision. Bailey Curry had a lot of great runs in 2022, so it's not a major shock or surprise that he is returning to JD Motorsports in 2023. I think it's a great decision to keep him in the organization for 2023. And then during the time of that announcement, when we talk about RFK Racing, Brad Keselowski revealed that Chris Buescher has had a contract extension signed since Brad Keselowski arrived at RFK Racing. Brad Keselowski is a big fan of Chris Buescher, so it isn't a big surprise if basically he signed him to a long-term extension. I would think it's probably to 2025 or 2026. Chris Buescher is definitely going to have to step up and start performing a little bit better heading into 2023 and try to get plus. But he did win a race, so that is some good news for sure. And glad to see he'll be returning to RFK Racing long-term and staying at the team. And then Brandon Brown, we'll get to him now because Brandon Brown actually spoke to a member of Front Stretch, and he basically revealed that he will not be returning to Brandonville Motorsports in 2023. He would end up finishing his season with Beechville Club Motorsports and really didn't end up finishing the year as he missed a lot of races. It's really disappointing news because Brandon Brown has been a very big part of the Brandonville group. We already know about the whole Let's Go Brandon story that really affected that situation. I think Brandon Brown's career might be unfortunately over unless he ends up driving for a good team. I think he deserves an opportunity at a good team, but that's just my opinion. And then we started getting some indications of rumors around early October, and it was first reported by Jordan Bianchi that AJ Allmendinger will be returning to the Cup Series on a full-time basis in 2023. And he'll be driving a 16 car for Call of Racing on a full-time basis. AJ Allmendinger has been driving the Xfinity Series for the last few seasons and has done a really, really good job. So he's moving back up to the Cup Series for the first time on a full-time basis since 2018 when he drove for JTG Doherty Racing. AJ will be looking to help Kaulig Racing build a really good program. He had some great ending of 2022 and some great runs, and he'll be looking to do that as well. On that same day, Kaulig Racing would have all their drivers except one driver, which again here a little bit, confirmed. Chandler Smith, who drives for Kyle Busch Motorsports at the time, will be announced to drive the 16 for Kaulig Racing heading into 2023 into the NASCAR Xfinity Series. I think Chandler's going to make that 16 car really, really strong. And I think you have to be real excited if you are a Chandler Smith fan heading into the 2023 season, as Chandler Smith will be helping and looking to try to prove the 16 car for 2023. On that same day, it will be revealed that Landon Castle will be returning to the 10 car for Kaulig in 2023. This was a big surprise for Kaulig Racing and a lot of people, considering Landon Castle got in there because of cryptocurrency. I'm a little bit surprised if they're keeping him in there, all things considered there. I think Landon will improve, though, in 2023 and will give that ride as good as he can. He won't be in the Cup Series. We'll talk about Spire here very, very shortly, but he will not be returning. He will be returning to Kaulig Racing in 2023. I believe on the same day, or around the same time, it was revealed that AM Racing was going to be expanding to the Xfinity Series in 2023. Now, AM Racing, for those who aren't aware, AM Racing is Austin Wayne Sells' organization of the Truck Series. They're planning to expand Xfinity in 2023. They've attempted to make some starts in 2022, but I think they ended up failing to qualify for every single one of the races that they actually ended up attempting. So, they'll be looking to try to improve on their performance. They'll be with the Jordan Anderson Racing Group trying to get help from them and be looking to improve heading into 2023. Now, it was finally officially confirmed from Kaulig Racing around, I believe, the Martinsville weekend, around the Las Vegas weekend, that Daniel Hemrick will be returning, actually, the Charlotte Roval weekend, that Daniel Hemrick will be returning to Kaulig Racing in 2023 to drive the number 11 car. Took a while. A lot of it, I think, was due to sponsorship and funding, but it's good that he will be returning to the team. He'll be looking to prove on Kaulig Racing and looking to do better than what he did in 2022. He'll be looking to help them build a good program heading into 2023. And then we started getting some more Xfinity Series confirmations, as Justin Allgaier will be confirmed to be returning to Junior Motorsports in 2023, driving the number 7 car. Now, he will not have Jason Burdett as a crew chief in 2023. I believe Jim Pullman, who was a crew chief for the 33 in the Cup Series, who was his crew chief in ARCA, he'll be the crew chief for Justin Allgaier in 2023. Justin Allgaier had a great year. He made the championship 4. So, again, not a surprise that he is going to be returning to their team. And then the next major story that came out was one of the biggest bombshell stories we have seen. Now, Kurt Busch has suffered a concussion issue at Pocono and not raced since. Unfortunately, Kurt Busch has not been medically cleared to race, and he will not race full-time in the Cup Series for the first time in his career in 2023. Now, Kurt Busch is hoping to be medically cleared for 2023 and is hoping to be allowed to race in 2023 on a part-time basis, but it's a really big shame. Kurt Busch had a good season going in 2022 before those concussions with the rear of these cars and with this age. It really is a very disappointing story nonetheless for Kurt Busch heading into 2023. But Kurt's had a great career, first ballot Hall of Famer. Hope we can see him in some legendary races and hope he'll be in the Fox Sports booth in 2023. On the same day, it was officially confirmed that Tyler Reddick would be officially then going to drive for 2311 Racing in 2023. Now, a little bit of a backstory. Tyler Reddick was originally supposed to drive for 2311 Racing in 2024. On July 12th of this year, it will be announced that Tyler Reddick will be driving the 45 car, driving a second 2311 Racing car. Now, at the time when the situation ended up happening, a lot of people were definitely really shocked about it at the time, and Rich Strauss Racing was mad. Now, they said they were going to keep him in the third car, but eventually after the Kurt Busch news broke down, they eventually decided to go ahead and say, we're going to go ahead and terminate your contract with the team, and they basically bought out the contract. It's very disappointing news on that front, but Tyler Reddick will be joining the team at 2311 Racing and looking to improve their brand and craft heading into 2023. After the Tyler Reddick news, a few weeks later, it was basically reported from Austin Konensky from Sportsnet that Chris Isabella had actually signed a long-term contract extension with Joe Gibbs Racing for a very long time. Now, we don't know how long this contract extension has been in the works and how long it took for them to finally get it to fruition, but they've had a long-term extension for Chris Bell after great performances. It's no wonder why. We already knew he was going to be returning for Ream coming back in 2023. How good Chris Bell ran, getting 3 wins. It's not a major shocker surprise that Chris Bell is going to be returning. And then we started hearing some crazy rumblings and rumors about Kevin Harvick. Now, Kevin Harvick, obviously, there's a lot of talk about his future past 2023. There's a lot of rumors that Kevin Harvick is going to retire in 2023. This is revealed about a couple weeks prior. They're trying to get Kevin Harvick back, but it sounds like he's going to be on a few drivers who could retire in 2023, including Martin Truex Jr., and they're trying to figure out who will get in the 4 car for 2023 at the time. And then there was a report that came out from Bob Pockrass later that Rich Cho's Racing is in conversation to potentially still have a 3rd car in 2023. Now, it sounds like this car will probably be a part-time entry in 2023, but I think it's interesting that Rich Cho's Racing is still wanting to have a 3rd car. If they run it, I would think the number 33 will be the number. That's the number they use in 2022 for Austin Hill. And I would think that Austin Hill and Sheldon Creed will be potential drivers to get behind the wheel of that car. And then I think right before the Homestead weekend, it would actually be revealed that Josh Berry would be returning to Junior Motorsports in 2023, driving a number 8 car. Coming off of winning at Las Vegas, picking up his 3rd win of the year, I'm not surprised that he got a contract extension with the team, especially running well with the organization and making the championship 4. It's not a surprise that he got an extension. And then at the NASCAR Hall of Fame, I believe on the Tuesday after the race at Vegas, Spire Motorsports would have a pretty big announcement where they would announce their 2 drivers for 2023. Now, Corey LaJoie will be returning to Spire Motorsports in 2023 in the number 7 car, but Ty Dillon is going to be moving over to the team after getting released to Petty GMS, and he'll be driving the number 77 car for Spire Motorsports in 2023. Crew chief and driver and all that stuff was officially announced at They're hoping to improve on their organization, looking to improve on their craft heading into 2023. And then a few days later, it would be revealed that Chase Purdy would not be returning to Hattori Racing in 2023. Now, Hattori Racing is planning to be a 2-truck organization in 2023. I would think there's a really good chance that we're going to see Tyler Ankrum return to the team next year. But when this Chase Purdy news came in, I wasn't surprised. The performance had not been that great. But don't worry about Chase Purdy. He'll be in the news here in the not-so-distant future. And then around the Homestead weekend, Trevor Bayne was speaking to the media, and he actually says his future is currently uncertain for 2023. Now, I think Trevor Bayne deserves an opportunity to run full-time with Joe Gibbs Racing. Just my personal opinion. He's done really good with Joe Gibbs Racing this year. So I think you have to get him signed, but we'll see what ends up happening. But I think you have to re-sign Trevor Bayne for their team heading into 2023. And then on the Monday morning, I believe after Homestead, GMS Racing will have a pretty big announcement for a 3rd entry for 2023. And this was a big one. Daniel Dye, who currently drove the 43 car in ARCA, who nearly won the championship for the team, he'll be driving the 43 for GMS Racing in the Truck Series in 2023. Deserves this opportunity, been with GMS Racing, had some great runs with the organization. You got to get him signed. He's a good talent. I know there's been some controversy around Daniel Dye that I'm not going to get into, but he's hoping to do a really, really good job and hopefully do a great job with GMS next year and be a championship threat. Now, the day after this announcement, DJR Racing, they would end up having a pretty big announcement the next day. And their announcement was that they would be rebranding to Tricon Garage heading into 2023, and they'll be moving over to Toyota. Now, the number 1 truck to have been basically driven in time by Hailie Deegan, that truck ended up being a truck with multiple different drivers from the Cup Series and the Xfinity Series. Corey Heim moves away from Kyle Busch Motorsports, and he'll drive the number 11 truck. Tanner Gray and Taylor Gray will respectively drive the 15 trucks and the number 17 trucks in 2023. And they're also going to have basically all the sponsors that were the Toyota brand in Kyle Busch Motorsports. They're getting all stuff from KBM, and they will have DJR Racing branding. This is a really, really big deal for DJR Racing going into next year, especially if you're a fan of DJR Racing, as they'll be looking to rebrand and become a really powerful organization heading into 2023. And then a couple weeks later, before Martinsville happened, on the Friday before Martinsville, Jen Burton would announce on Twitter that he would not be returning to Our Motorsports in 2023. After some lack of performances, and it's not a shock or surprise, as he apparently does potentially have a ride for 2023 set. It's unclear what team he'll be driving for heading into next year, but he'll be looking to run some races in 2023. On that same day, Beard Motorsports will make a pretty big announcement in 2023 that Austin Hill is going to be driving for their organization in 2023. And they're actually expanding their schedule as they're going to run Daytona 500, Talladega in the spring, the Chicago Street Course, Michigan, Daytona Summer, and Talladega in the fall. Many people were surprised by the Chicago Street Course and Michigan announcements, but this gives Austin Hill some select cup experience and be looking to help him out, have some great runs in 2023 and hoping to help build maybe eventually Beer Motorsports a full-time team, but good to see they're running more races. And then on the Saturday morning before the NASCAR Xfinity Series race at Martinsville, Big Machine Racing would announce their driver for 2023, and not surprisingly, Parker Kligerman's going to drive the number 48 Big Machine Racing car. Now, Parker's going to run part-time with Henderson Motorsports in 2023. I would think he'll run 10 races with the team next year, and he'll be working with NBC during their portion of the Cup Series races as well. Massive pickup for Big Machine Racing. Park got a win earlier this year at Mid-Ohio, and he's done a really awesome job with organizations giving the best equipment. So I think Parker is going to be a championship threat next year in 2023. And then early the week of the championship week, it would basically reveal that Ryan Vargas would not be returning to JD Motorsports in 2023. Now, there's been rumors about maybe him going to Sam Hunt Racing next year, but it was really disappointing news to hear they won't be returning to JD Motorsports, but I wish him the best of luck heading into 2023. Around the same time, I think on the same day, it'd be revealed that Garrett Smithy would be returning to the Xfinity Series on a full-time basis to drive the number 78 for BJ McLeod Motorsports. Now, BJ McLeod Motorsports has been kind of iffy organization throughout the year, so hopefully Garrett can do a really good job with that team. And then a couple days later, Dale Jr. would announce, Bass Pro would actually announce that Dale Jr. will be running a couple Xfinity Series races in 2023. Now, Dale Jr. normally only runs one Xfinity Series race. He'll run one with Bass Pro and one with helmets. Excited to see Dale Jr. expanding his schedule, and maybe eventually in the next 30 years, he'll run a full Xfinity Series schedule when he's nearly 70 or 80 years old. That would be fun for sure. It'd be like Morgan Shepherd. But in all seriousness, happy he'll be expanding his schedule. And then around this time, it started getting reported and officially confirmed that Hendrick Motorsports is going to be returning to the NASCAR Xfinity Series heading into 2023. They're going to run a select number of races with all their Cup Series guys and maybe get some other drivers an opportunity to drive for the Brennan. Great to see they will be returning. They didn't win a race in 2022. They came close to winning, but I think it's great that they'll be returning to Xfinity in 2023. And then a few days later, Bob Pockers confirmed that Harrison Burton would be returning to the Wood Brothers in 2023. Now, Harrison Burton, I think, had an up-and-down rookie season, so he'll be looking to prove on that in 2023. I think he's definitely got potential to get that done in 2023 with the Wood Brothers. And then around the same time, I think on the Thursday of the championship week, Sheldon Creed will be confirmed to be returning to Rich Cho's Racing in 2023 in the number 2 car. He struggled at the beginning of the year, but by the end of the year, he really came into zone and started showing a lot of progress. I think Sheldon Creed will show progress in 2023 and be a championship threat in the number 2 car next season. And then, one of the biggest bombshells got confirmed on the Friday morning that Jimmy Johnson has bought an ownership stake with Petty GMS. He will drive select races for the team in 2023, including in the Daytona 500. And we don't know what the number will be. A lot of indications think he'll be in the 44 car, and other races will be to be determined. This also pretty much confirms he will not be entering the Indianapolis 500 in 2023. This is a massive, massive deal for Petty GMS, as he will be looking to help build Petty GMS to be this great organization. They're setting themselves up for a really great future and a very exciting future as well. And on the same day, we see a couple other major announcements take place. First, Kyle Busch Motorsports would officially confirm their 2023 driver lineup, and it's kind of a letdown. So Chase Purdy will be moving over to the Ford truck full-time in the Truck Series in 2023. Meanwhile, Jack Wood is going to run 10 Truck Series races in 2023 in the number 51 truck. Kyle Busch will run 5 races, and there's some indications and rumblings that Jimmy Johnson could also make one start in the Truck Series with the team next year. KBM, I think they're going to have a down year, especially in the number 4 truck. I think it'll be okay, but they're going to have a down year when it comes to performance, and I don't expect them to be a championship caliber team. At the same time of that announcement, Rev Racing would make a major splash to announce that they would be entering the Truck Series in 2023. Nick Sanchez, a lot of us thought was going to go to KBM next year. He'll drive the number 2 truck for Rev Racing. This is a big deal. They'll also be partnered with Kyle Busch Motorsports. I think Nick Sanchez is a great talent. He won the ARCA Championship, and I think that you got to look at Rev Racing as a team that I think could do great things next year. And then on the same day, Johnny Sauter was interviewed by, I believe, by Michael Massey of Front Stretch, and he says he's hoping to make starts in NASCAR in 2023. At this weekend, he was at Phoenix Raceway to help Young's Motorsports and wasn't really that fast, but I think Young's Motorsports is a team that isn't really that great. So, great to see he had an opportunity to try to come back, and hopefully we'll maybe see him in the future race, but we'll see what happens. And then I believe the day after this, Mike Harmon Racing revealed they had partnered up with Gary Keller, and they will have Gary Keller work JD Motorsports as a partner with the team. Gary Keller brings a lot of funding, so he's going to help the team out, and I think he's going to do great things with the branding and help Mark Harmon Racing for 2023. And then on championship week, we get a few more big confirmations. First, Kyle Busch confirmed at his announcement with Kyle Busch Motorsports that his opportunity Indy 500 dried up. Sounds like he will not be running the Indy 500 in 2023, which is a big disappointment. A lot of rumors that he was trying to get a ride at McLaren. He had Menard sponsorship and funding from John Menard to help him out. That unfortunately dried up because of the colors they want, and Team Penske is not one to have another car, a fourth car for a NASCAR Cup Series driver. Very disappointing news around Kyle Busch. On the same day, it's not really been confirmed about Kyle Larson, but Kyle Larson's 2023 Indy 500 opportunity is very unknown at the moment. And with the confirmation of the 24 car being run by the Cusick Group, I really don't know. Now, he's been approved to run by Hendrick Motorsports, but I think if he runs, he'll be running the second, basically the second car that's a dry Reinbull Racing at this point if he runs. But I don't know if he's going to run the Indy 500. He's also not running the Chili Bowl in 2023, by the way. So if you're a Kyle Larson fan, you do have to be disappointed. But Larson's future in there is currently unknown. And then a few weeks later, we have a little bit of quietness in the silly season, but about 2 weeks later, it was officially confirmed that Ty Gibbs will be jumping up to the Cup Series full-time in 2023. But instead of driving the number 18 car, he's driving the number 54 car. And Chris Gale has been his crew chief in the Xfinity Series, will be his crew chief in the Cup Series. The 18 car eventually will return to the Cup Series. Don't worry if you're a number 18 fan, that number is eventually going to return. But Ty Gibbs bringing to 54, I think they want to create a new, basically an image for Ty Gibbs and really create a new brand for Ty Gibbs. That's why they chose the 54 instead of the 18 car, and people associate Dale Jarrett, Bobby Labonte, and Kyle Busch with that number. On the same day of that announcement, it was confirmed that Riley Herbst will be returning to Stewart-Haas Racing in 2023 in the number 98 car. Riley has some decent performances, so this isn't a major shock or surprise. He's returning to the 98 car. He'll be looking to prove on that heading into 2023. On the next day, Stewart-Haas Racing would then confirm the rest of their lineup for 2023 in Cup and Xfinity. Ryan Preece, in shocking fashion, is actually going to drive the 41 car for Stewart-Haas Racing in 2023. Ryan Preece, a very talented driver, had a great year with DJR Racing in the Truck Series and finished over 11th, got a win at Nashville. With Ryan Preece going to the 41 car, I think this is a great move for the team, and Tony really wanted to put Ryan Preece behind the wheel. There's also rumors that Kevin Harvick also wanted to put him behind the wheel as well. With the announcement of Ryan Preece going the 41 into his Stewart-Haas Racing, where does Cole Custer go? Well, Cole Custer is moving back to the NASCAR Xfinity Series in 2023. It was just confirmed about a week ago, the day before Thanksgiving, that Cole Custer is going to be driving the 00 car. Now, that 00 car means a lot for Cole Custer, as that number has been associated with him up until he got to the Cup Series in 2020. I think you have to look at Cole Custer as a championship threat next year. He'll be teammates with Riley Herbst next year. And I think that Cole Custer will surprise a lot of people, as I think he's going to get a lot of wins in the Xfinity Series in 2023. And now we jump to about just a week ago, as it was reported by Adam Stern about a week ago that Julio Castroneves is close to racing in the 2023 Daytona 500. The two teams that are favorites are Trackhouse and the Money Team. Now, basically, we all go back to the middle of the year where he won an SRX race, and the guy who runs the SRX, Don Hawk, CEO, says that Julio, if he won a race, he won an SRX race, which he won the race to South Boston, he would get an opportunity to race there. I think this will be a great move, regardless if he gets in there or not. Hopefully the deal gets done, but it sounds like the deal is getting close to being done. And then about a day or two after, it got reported by Austin Konetsky from Sportsnet that Adam Stern was on Sirius and NASCAR Radio and basically confirmed something that kind of came in our minds. Denny Hamlin's under contract, and his contract ends in 2023. Also, FedEx's contract ends in 2023 as well. This would be a massive blow for Joe Gibbs Racing. They just lost M&M's and Kyle Busch. If they lose Denny Hamlin, I think there's a good chance Hamlin goes to 23XI Racing and finds sponsorship over there. Regardless, though, this is definitely a major, major development in a pretty big way and kind of a disappointing development as well in a sense. So, definitely very interesting for sure, and we'll see what happens. And then this past Monday, it was revealed that Ricker Racing has formed a technical alliance with RFK Racing. And Ricker Racing will be using the RFK facility to basically have their cars. Ricker Racing is looking to improve on their performances, and their goal is to try to improve heading into 2023 and show a lot more pace heading into next year, which I think this could be a big move for both manufacturers as they align to Ford. And then, earlier this evening, or earlier yesterday when you're watching this, it was announced that Colby Howard basically reported to TobyChristie.com that Colby will not be returning to McAnally Hilgeman Racing in 2023. Now, Colby has told them that he is planning to run full-time in trucks next year. It's unclear where he will end up racing in 2023. But he was really the last major domino that's fallen very recently. He will not be returning to McAnally Hilgeman in 2023. So that's everything that has been confirmed. Let's talk about what remains in the silly season that has not been confirmed. First, let's talk about Hailie Deegan. Now, Hailie Deegan obviously is not returning to DJR Racing or Tricon Garage next year as she is under Ford contract. A lot of us thought she'd be going to Touros Racing and Xfinity Series next year, but it sounds like that is not going to end up happening unless they get a third car. She could go to SS Greenlight Racing, but at this point, I don't think she's going to end up at SS Greenlight Racing either. I think she's going to stay in trucks next year and drive for Front Row. Now, I think that she should be running next year in the Xfinity Series on a full-time basis, but I think with Ford backing her, I don't see them moving her away from that group. I think she'll be driving for Front Row Motorsports. Speaking of which, let's talk about Front Row Motorsports. Their Cup drivers have not been confirmed for 2023. Ray, of course, know that Todd Gillen and Mike McDowell drove those cars in 2022. I think they're both going to end up remaining in the rides. McDowell had a great year in 2022. Now, he'll have a new crew chief in 2023 as Travis Peterson's coming in. And I think Todd Gillen is going to return. Both those guys are going to have new crew chiefs heading into 2023. And I think those will be the two drivers returning. Next, let's talk about Joe Gibbs Racing in the Xfinity Series program. With Ty Gibbs going full-time Cup racing in the 54 car, with Chandler Smith out of the running as he goes to College Racing, and with the other driver, Brandon Jones, moving over to Junior Motorsports, they've got a team that is completely empty currently at the moment. I think what's going to happen is, I think the Sammy Smith's taking the 18, John Hunter's taking the 19, I think they get rid of the 54, and the 20 car returns for Joe Gibbs Racing with an all-star cast of drivers getting behind the wheel of that car. I think that's what happens with Joe Gibbs Racing. Next, let's talk about Roger Carruth. Now, Roger Carruth's been kind of teasing his plans these last few weeks and says he's kind of getting close to having his 2023 plan signed. I think Roger will have a full-time ride in trucks next year, whether it's with Spire or GMS or wherever, but it sounds like we're getting close to maybe knowing about his plans. And finally, let's talk about Live Fast Motorsports. Live Fast Motorsports is a team that's in a very interesting position. We do know that they are going to be entering in 2023. Rumors are that Live Fast Motorsports is going to be moving to Chevy next year and align with Richard Childress Racing. Now, there have been rumbling rumors a few months ago that that was where Tyler Reddick was going to go for all the Tyler Reddick news really started popping up. So I think they're going to switch to Chevy and align with Richard Childress Racing. So that is going to be it for the NASCAR Silly Season Update and Motorsports Silly Season Update. I want to thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe to the channel. Notifications on to be notified when a video does go live on my channel. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, as per me on Patreon as well. Links could jump over that and combo your thoughts on today's Silly Season Update. What's been the greatest Silly Season Update that happened this year? Let me know in the comments below. Tomorrow on my channel, we're either going to have a NASCAR news video or we're going to have another team preview or something else dropping on the channel. This weekend, I will be potentially having that announcement come out. We'll have to wait and see what happens. But I also will be having the 2023 Cup Series predictions video dropping either this Saturday or Sunday. Keep your notifications on. We got other videos coming out for this upcoming week. So anyway, like I said, I want to thank you guys for watching today's episode. And I'll see you guys next time for some more great, awesome NASCAR content and other motorsports content on the channel like this. Take care, everybody.